Hi, so I am starting a new series where I'm going to be doing a house from complete beginning to end. This is just for those who have never done a house in Revit before and are not aware of the benefits that you can have from doing a project. So I'm going to go completely from the beginning, do step-by-step videos to kind of get you ready to do this type of project. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start the project. And funny enough, there are quite a few people who don't know how a project is officially started in Revit. So I'm going to show you. Just an FYI, I'm using 2020 version of Revit, so things may look a little different in Revit than what you're probably using, but that is the current year. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here. This is what my start page looks like. For some of you, it may look something like this, so if it does look like that, all you have to do is come up here to this home button that's next to the R and takes you back to here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a new model. So I'm going to click new. And the first thing that pops up is normally a question on what template do I want to use. And I always recommend using a template, whether it's one that you've built yourself or we have this one right here. I will be doing a series, on template creation. It is its own little beast, so I'm not going to do that in here. So I'm just going to use the one that comes with the program, which is architectural template. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Make sure that project is selected. I'm going to click OK. What that does is it should take me into Revit itself, into a Revit file that's completely new from scratch. Inside of here, if you don't do anything else, the least I recommend you do is set up your levels. So the way you do that is you're going to actually go to one of your elevations, and it doesn't matter which one, just click on one. And make sure that you have all of them in here that you need. The fastest and easiest way to do that is to go ahead, click one of your level lines. Now, this is not the only way to do this. There are several ways that you can create levels inside of Revit. This is just one of the ways that I prefer to do it. I'm going to click on one of my level lines, and I'm going to use the copy command, the modify copy command, not the clipboard copy command. Those are two different commands, just so you're aware. I'm going to click the constrain button, which is on my design options bar, and I'm going to also click multiple because I'll probably be adding in more than one. If you think about a residential project and how it is usually done, you usually have a ground level, which we could leave at level 1 if we really wanted to, or we can make that ground levels. For some of us, we like to take our grade down. And so I'm going to create a level down here. I'm not caring about what it's named. I'm not caring about the numbers. I'm just putting them in. I also will probably have some type of second floor if we are doing a 2-story building. And then I will also most likely have a bottom of roof or top of joist level line. And I may even also have in a basement and maybe a basement footer. So I'll put in 2 more levels in there. So now I've got those in. From here, I'm going to actually go through and change the numbers and actually name them. So I'm just going to say that my grade is -1 foot 2. No reason why it's a negative is 0, 0 is where it's supposed to be. And notice that I put that in without putting in my little negative, and it went above. So I just need to come in here. I'm going to click that one more time. Make sure you put that negative in. If you don't put that negative in, it's going to go above 0, 0. This is just how this type of level line works. And I could show you an example of how to change level lines where they're based off of grade or based off of project levels or 0, but not for this, for what we're doing here. The other thing I'm going to do is not only am I going to change its height, but I'm going to change its name. And all I did was just click on level 3, tell it grade. Now I know what you're thinking. I can't see the other one. How do I get that to move? Very simple. Right, but usually it's right above the inches. There's a little squiggly, and that's called an elbow. So if you click that, it now moves it so that you can see it. And this is going to change based off of the scale that you have your drawing in. since I'm going to be doing a fairly modest size house, I'm actually going to go down here and change my scale to 1/4 of an inch. And you'll notice the scale looks different. Now, if you're like me, you don't like it when the line's going through the wording, all you do is click the level line. You move the grip, the first grip first, so the grip that determines where the elbow is. Then you move the second grip so that which is the one that actually controls where this is sitting. If you say, hey, I don't need the elbow anymore, you click your second grip and take it right back up and it goes back in line. But then again, create your squiggly. So if you didn't need to do that. So I'm just going to go through and renumber my, or put in the different dimension first for my different level lines. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to change the names. Most likely this is probably going to be, what, a 9'2", I believe. These numbers are based off of 0, like I said. So you'll notice this one says 22 and not 10 from here. But say you're like, well, I don't know what that difference is. I'm zooming out a little bit. You'll notice there's dimensions over here. This will be where you could put in whatever that difference is from floor to floor. So let's say, oh, well, it's another 9'6" up or something. I don't know. We could have all kinds of different dimensions in here. I'm just showing you how to do them. Same thing with down below with your basement. You say, oh, well, my basement is probably going to go down in 8'6". So if you don't want to do the math with how, how is it from 0 or whatever else, or how is it from level 1 or so on and so forth, you can, since this is going from grade, because this is the last level line that it was in between, you can actually take this witness, or this witness grip, which is what it is, and move it up to the other level and say, oh, well, there's a difference in 8'6" from my first floor to the top of my basement floor. And if I want to change, this is going to be my footer, I have to make sure I click off of the other one and click onto this level line and say, well, the footer's going to go down another 16 inches. And or we could say the footer actually starts at 4 inches down. We'll say 4 inches down from the top of the concrete floor. So I could just say 4 inches here. Uh-oh, I put in 164 inches. 4 inches here, and it changes where that sits. I just have to make sure that I once again change the level lines, or put in an elbow if I need to, or so on and so forth. And also come in here and change what the names are. So I could say this is top of footer, and top of basement floor. But the floor is assumed. I can even change this. You're not stuck with these names. I can tell this to be first floor if I want to be consistent with how I'm naming things. But if I do this, notice something. When I do this, it's going to say, hey, do you realize you're also changing its name of the view itself? Yeah, actually I do want to do that. And what's going to happen is if you look over here in your project browser, it says floor plans. Right now it says level 1. If I tell this yes, it now changes that to first floor. Not only does it change it for the floor plans, it changes it for the ceiling plans also. So just keep that in mind. Now to be consistent, I'm going to go and change my second floor the same way. Same question, because I did not check this box right here that says, do you want me to show this message again? I actually do want it to show me this message, because sometimes you get to changing a little bit faster than you really want to, and you meant to go back. So this is just are you really, really sure? Yes, yes, I am. So it's a way of asking that question. Something else to notice about these level lines, notice that these two are blue and the others are black. That is because these two have views associated with them, which are these two over here. The rest of them do not. In my next video, I will show you how to create those views for those level lines that you created in that don't have views attached to them. I'm going to call this one top of joist, or sometimes people say top of bearing. And there we go. Just that simple. If you're going, why are the level lines so wide? Well, that's because this was based off of 1/8 of an inch. It was based off of maybe having a bigger building. Obviously, we don't have a bigger building right now, so I'm going to actually drag this in a little bit, but not too much, because it says 3D here. That means that if I actually cut the geometry off where this level line is, you won't see that geometry in the floor plan itself. So, and I can show what that means a little bit later. So I'm just shortening them up a little bit because we didn't need it to be that big. So there you go. That's starting out a Revit project and at least setting up your level lines. Thank you.